feeling myself, but I stay in my lane. I know you thinking you nice, but you sounding the same. He need to switch up his flow, but I know that he ain't. Shit, maybe he want to and probably can't. He talk a lot, but ain't saying a word. He's 16, sounding like he be lacing his herbs. Reggie Rock told me time to just focus and spit. Quit worrying about the niggas abandoning shit. I dropped broken and they told me quit biting your tongue. The way you writing sounded like you forgot where you from. Say you from the hood, but you sound like a minister now. Yeah, I could take it there, but shit, I just like how this sound. I should address some of this drama, but letting it go. Shit, I can't keep playing with you niggas, I'm getting too old. The last words Bone told me I never forget. Quit playing with this music and do it to death. Shit, I came back.
You're now watching the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, hosted by your man, H-Rap B.
And I'm back. Thank you for tuning in. This is Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build a community to destroy the lies and the propaganda that are around our community. Thank you. If you're available, hit that like button. If you're on Facebook, hit that share button. Hit that like on YouTube. Why do I get stuck there every week? Go to www.theendofthebench.com and subscribe. It is important. It helps me with my algorithm. It is important. It's important. Today. This will be the last Build and Destroy of the 2023 year. It has been a blast. Thank you for tuning in for 52 straight weeks. 52 weeks, and you've been here. I have not missed one episode in 52 weeks. This is the 52nd episode of the year, and the last. Thank you, first and foremost. If you are not busy, I need you to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. It is important. Help me. Again, thank you for tuning in. And as I do every week, I want to acknowledge my ancestors. My ancestors are my parents. Without my parents, there is no Build and Destroy. And that's everybody who connected to them socially, politically, and biologically. Thank you to everybody who has helped me throughout the year. Anybody who's sending me information, anybody who's sending me encouragement, saying thank you for the information that you've received. It's going to be a better year next year. Now, the reason I'm saying this is the last show of the year, because obviously it is the last show of the year. What I want to do is lay out a blueprint. Last week's show was We Have No Friends. This week is Are You Ready to Fight? Black people, we are in jeopardy of being re-oppressed, further oppressed. We want to get into a situation to whereas it's not just us fighting against the system all the time, every day. It is an everyday struggle. The struggle will never end because we live in a country that was built on racism, that is inhabited by a lot of hate. You have a lot of people who buy into the hate, and they buy into what a lot of people call white supremacy, white nationalism, and things of that nature. And when you're living in under those conditions, what you will find yourself in is a situation to whereas it's always will be someone on the bottom. What we want to do going forward, as of today, the 26th of December, 2023, we want to make sure that the whole world isn't standing on our backs. We do not want to be at the end of the race at all times. There is enough, and that's the point of the show today. There's enough of us to support each other and put ourselves in a better situation so we won't always be in the situation of lack. We have everything it takes in this community to be in an advantageous situation. There's no reason that no one should be losing at this point. Now, I don't have all the answers. I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers, but I do have thoughts on what's wrong with our community. I'm going to show you a couple of videos. I got a very encouraging video at the end of the program. I got a video that will let you know why I made this my last video of the year, my last episode of the year. And I have some ideas to put us in a situation to whereas we won't continue to struggle at all times, every day, all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, we will be fighting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if you're watching this program, I've looked at my analytics and things of that nature. Most people who listen to my program are either very young or within 5 to 7 years of my age. That means you were probably born between 1965 and 1980, or you were born sometime in the late to mid 90s. And I truly appreciate everybody. But what I'm going to do is talk to the elders at this point, because we must set the pace. I personally feel the people who are at the end of the baby boom, which will give you about 1959, and the end of Generation X, that's my generation, 1979. I personally feel we didn't do a good enough job. We got comfortable. And what I mean by getting comfortable is we got jobs and we assumed that the fight was over. The fight would never be over. We've seen that. A lot of people will tell you, hey, man, we ain't got to fight that much. Look, we even had a black president. It's not as racist as it used to be, until you find out that Barack Hussein Obama was threatened more than any president in history of the world, until you take a look around and see hate groups popping up all over the world, until you see white nationalism firing up in every direction, until you see all this hate being germinated towards the black community, things being removed, our history being removed. I spoke about that last week. Our history being removed, our funding from our community being removed. You have these stooges who are in our community who are attempting to represent us, saying, hey, man, we need to stop. That's here in Chicago. We need to stop being so stingy. Well, we're not even going to address those kinds of idiots at this point, because we are a mighty people. We have some of the strongest women, some of the strongest men, some of the most able-bodied, intelligent, fearless young people in the history of our community. I want you to understand this. Think about this. For my generation and the generation that's like 10 years before me, the whole 1960 to 1970 generation, just us, I'm going to speak to us directly. Do you guys understand we are the first generation in the history of the black community that was expected to go to college? That college wasn't a pipe dream. Education is paramount, but education does not only come on the campus of universities. You have trades, you have entrepreneurial spirit, education on business, which you can go to a library. You don't have to go to the library anymore. You can go to Audible and have a book read to you. You can go to YouTube. YouTube University is graduating people magna cum laude every day. I'm in a program myself. I just signed up for a couple of days ago for a computer program that's free. That's free. The dude who doing it to show me how to get in it free, and I did it. It ended up costing me ultimately $32, but that was the hookup. That was the backdoor hookup, and it didn't cost. It was free to get in the program, and the program's free. So there are means in other situations so we can all succeed. Now, I'm not foolish enough to make ignorant, absent-minded, absent of information statements like slavery was a choice. People are struggling because they want to. You need to get up off your butt and work hard, and foolish information like that. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, because I think you have to be a full-blown jackass to think that way. No, most people in this community don't want to struggle. But because we got away from the traditions in our community, what we are doing is struggling, because it's not one of the very first thing on my notes is stop identifying with what's wrong in our community. That's the very first thing I have on my agenda today. And that's what the whole starting soliloquy was about. You have some of the smartest people, some of the most informed people, some of the hardest working people in the history of the world in our community walking the earth today. if you're a spiritual person, even the Bible says you will have, if you're born of a woman, you will have stress and turmoil in your body, in your life, rather. That's cool. Nothing, in other words, nothing is going to come easy. But what we have to do is invest in ourselves. This is why I ask you guys to share the links that I send you, the links that you automatically get. If you subscribe to the channel, YouTube will send you a link. Share them, because what I'm attempting to do is build up a situation to whereas, for example, my sister, she's in the chat room. She makes candles. Just imagine if we had 10, 20, 30,000 people in this chat room that was buying candles from her. 10, 20, 30,000 times $10. That's $100K. That's $100,000. What if everybody bought a candle a month? She doesn't have to get up and go to work anymore. Guess what? That'll be overwhelming for her. At that point, if it's overwhelming for her, what happens is she has to hire someone. See, this is why we consistently make these foolish statements of, hey, man, we don't support each other. We don't have anything to support. We don't have a lot of things to support each other. And I'm going to say some things that a lot of people may see as anti other communities. And you could go ahead and I've told y'all, I'm not cleaning it up anymore. But what we're going to do is stop identifying with what's wrong. Now, what I mean by stop identifying with what's wrong is this. Let's just identify with what's right with our community, because there's far more right than wrong. For example, as you watch this program, it's my presentation ESPN quality? No, but it's the information that you're receiving from me, ESPN, CNN, Fox News quality. I pray it is. See, what I found when we go to support our establishments, we compare it to Ruth Crisp. We compare it to what's that, Brazos. We compare it to all these big time institutions and say, you're not up to this standards. Well, first and foremost, nobody at the bottom of the food chain, nobody brand new is on a plus level. And I'm not saying accept crap, but when you go to an establishment that's by an entrepreneur who's just starting out, if the food is quality, if the service is quality, and you might have one or two issues, then act as if you were started. Have a little, what is called in the spiritual community, have some grace for people. What we do is the first thing that's wrong, we go, oh, it's wrong. I don't want to deal with it. See, that's what's wrong with us. No, you have to afford people a little grace. That's been misspelling on my program, but you still got the quality information, but it was a misspelling. So does that mean don't pay attention to me because there's a typo? No, that means, hey, you know what? He's doing a lot. I'm gonna give him some grace. And if it's every week, then you address it. Or you know what? This dude is a clown. I don't want to deal with him. But if we're dealing with people on a regular basis, the more times we visit, the better the quality should get. The quality improves. Your service, what your expectations can go up. But we can't have someone walk into someone's establishment or have someone do some work for us, and that was quality, but because it wasn't at the top of the food chain, it wasn't, to use a sports analogy, if it wasn't Super Bowl champion quality, if it was just playoff quality, then it was quality, But what we do is we identify the one thing that's wrong and we just harp on it and harp on it and harp on it. And I always use the example of this. There's no one who's ever eaten at Wendy's, Burger King, KFC, Popeyes, or any other chain restaurants that didn't have their order, a mistake on that order. And if you've had that and you've gone back, I'm gonna need you to have that same grace for the brothers and sisters in the community that do things. Am I telling you again to have substandards and accept BS? No, I'm not. But what I am saying is this. I'm looking at the universe and I'm looking at it as what we have to do to make sure things get in order. Now, again, I'm not asking you to accept C- effort and say, hey, well, it's because it's black. That's what we're going to do. No, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is support the people who are putting forth the best effort. In the event that we have an issue with them, we go to the manager, we go to the owner, or something of that nature. At that point, we will be able to now the black unemployment rate goes down. Now we can hold these business owners' feet to the fire again. Let's just use the candle analogy again. We buy $100,000 of candles in 1 month from this individual. Okay, now they hire someone to help them, and we do that. Now we make that person not even a millionaire. Let's say they making $250,000 a year. They profiting $250,000, $300,000 a year off the business that we've supported and put that person in an advantageous financial situation. Right? That's the key, right? Good. Now that we've done this, we tell that person, hey, we helped you. So it's a youth center over here on the south side, the west side, the north side, in Atlanta, in Mississippi, in Arkansas, or wherever the youth center is. We're going to need you to help them because you were making $55,000 a year at your job. Now you're making $250,000, $300,000. We need you to donate some money to that. That's how it works. It's funny because we're in the middle. Today is Happy Kwanzaa, the first day of Kwanzaa, and it's also Hanukkah as well. And with Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, you have these exercises. One of the things with these two spiritual exercises, you have these 5 pots. And one of the pots is for saving. Excuse me. The first pot is for tithing, giving back to your church. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as well. Giving back to your church because you were blessed to be in your position. The second one's for saving. Oh, charity. Actually, charity. I'm sorry. Charity is the second one. The third one is for saving. The fourth one is to pay bills. And the fifth one is for investments. Why am I bringing this up? Again, you do the church thing because the church, our churches, there's a church on every corner. But if we start attending these institutions, that's what we can dictate what that money that we hand into the church is doing. It shouldn't be any, like Chicago. I'm here in Chicago, Illinois. 58% of the homeless people are from our community. Guess what? If we were supporting the churches like we're supposed to be, you don't even have to believe. But look, you know what? You're doing good work. I'm gonna come to your church. I'm gonna throw you a little change. I'm gonna support the movement. We're gonna feed the homeless of our community. We're gonna make homeless shelters. Guess what? Those are government funded homeless shelters. Guess what? We can get some of that funding. That's another way to keep people employed because you got the church who opened up a homeless shelter, gets government funded from the homeless shelter, and now some 5 or 6 of us working at the church for working for the homeless shelter. Do you understand what I'm saying? The second one is the charitable thing. Now, HRAP is trying to grow. What we're going to do, tell you what, HRAP, you gave us the idea to support the church, give money to the church open up this homeless shelter. We know that we're going to invest in you. Via charity, we're going to invest in you. All of a sudden, HRAP got 500,000 people watching every week. HRAP making $500,000 a year. HRAP, that same candle lady you told us about, she gave up 30,000. We're gonna need you to give up 60,000, HRAP, because we made you bigger than her. Then you're doing your bills, and then you're doing your savings, then you're doing your investment for your future. This is a cyclical situation. All of those things come back. That's how we support each other. All this complaining, we don't need to do this. Oh, we don't do this there. And then my favorite one, which I'm actually being facetious. I'm not saying this is my favorite one, but this is the one that just grinds my gears to no end. It's the one that people say, well, we don't support each other. Don't nobody want to do nothing. You can't help everybody. Yes, you can help everybody. Yes, you can help everybody. I want y'all to take this in consideration because this is another trope that we love to repeat. Well, other communities, you see, we need to be more like them. But the difference in them and us is the fact that we want to integrate with white America. And I told you, I'm not pulling any punches anymore. We want to integrate with white America now. Look, the Italians, the Irish, the Germans, the Ukraine people, the Greek people, these are all communities right here in Chicago. There's a Ukraine village a quarter mile away from my house. There's a Greek town 1.5 miles away from my house. Little Italy, a quarter mile away to the south of my house. Understand there's a little Puerto Rico, a Chinatown just to the south of me. There's the largest shopping center the second largest shopping center next to Michigan Avenue. For those who are not familiar with Chicago, Michigan Avenue is equivalent to Madison Avenue in New York, or Rodeo Drive out in LA and Beverly Hills. So I know y'all heard of those. Michigan Avenue is that in Chicago, and the second largest one is the Latino neighborhood to the south of me right now called Little Village. So how did they get the second largest shopping area? Because they're shopping with each other. We don't own anything. You don't have to own anything. You just don't have to go to Foot Locker. You just don't have to own from Amazon. You just don't have to go to Walmart. You don't. If we start shopping in regards to needs instead of wants, all of a sudden we'll have more money. We just imagine, and this portion is a pipe dream. Just imagine if we all went to a black streaming service, like Tyler Perry owns a major percentage of BET Plus. He's a major stockholder in BET. What if we just only stream with Tyler Perry? All of a sudden our money is going to the right place. Now we all know Tyler Perry gives money back, so we won't even have to ask him for that. The more we support him, the more he gives back. This is how we grow our community. This is how we grow our community. And just again, with myself and the candle person, how about this? If we become multimillionaires, we are bringing people in. At that point, when we get too old to work, our children are taking over those industries. Or how about this? Your children are taking over those industries. I no longer want to be the CEO of Candles Incorporated. I no longer want to be the CEO at End of the Bench. I'm going to hire DJ Knox's son. I'm going to hire Big Illinois' daughter. I'm going to hire Poetic Sans son. That's how we continue to grow this thing. We have to stop identifying what's wrong with us. We know what's wrong. Our schools are underfunded. The teachers in our school don't care about our children. The education is substandard. We're not enforcing rules that we used to. You have to work. I know too many people that are working 2 jobs at a time just to make ends meet. So these are the things that are troubling us. But as I stated, their first job is giving money to the church. Here's something that you can do at your church. You can set up after school programs, again, employing people. Saturday school. I knew a dude named Nick Kalamatasakis. He's a Greek cat. He said he went to Greek school for the first 14 years of his life. Every Saturday, he wasn't watching no cartoons. He wasn't doing this. He was getting up, going to Greek school. Guess what? Teachers say they don't make enough money. Imagine if the churches in our community got together and set up African-American schools. Then you would find out books like We Shoot Back. That's a book about the people in the South when the Klan would rile up and come at them, they'd kill a few of them. I'm not promoting violence, but I'm just letting you know Black people didn't always just get beat. They didn't get beat, their brains beat out and fall. And Black people fought back. I talked to a brother 2 weeks ago when I had this toy giveaway at my church. And during the toy giveaway, this brother was telling me about how his uncles were about to string up a white guy. These are stories that our children don't know about. We just hear about people folding, crying, getting raped, getting hung, getting run out of town. These are the things that we need to know. When you understand that you have the lineage of fighting, it will make you a fighter. And when you become a fighter, it will breed it into your children. And then your children won't turn to crime more than like people gonna turn to crime regardless what the situation is. But a lot of us won't turn to crime. A lot of us understand that I'm gonna have to fight to get what I want. Now the fight is a little lighter because I'm just looking at the chat room. Now we're going to the greatest grocery store. We're going to Chief Rocker's Dry Cleaners. We're going to this person's hardware store. These are the things that are cyclical and missing from our community. At one point, we were not allowed to spend our money with other people. Oh, no, you can't go into that store. You can't go downtown to Marshall Fields, or if you're Dillard's or Gimbel's or Macy's, depending upon what part of the country you're in. You can't go there. You got to go to the back. We weren't going to the back. We created our own situations. Just imagine how many people spend $1,000 every time. How many times we go to these events in the summer to celebrate our young people, these prom send-offs, and these people have paid $500, $600, $700, $1,200 for a dress. That same person that made that dress, that person can make your clothes to get up and go to the job that you sick of. Now, again, the whole community getting their clothes made by that person. That person has to hire someone to help them and or train someone to help them because it's a young person who wants to do the same thing and blow up themselves. These are the things. That's what those jars are for. So now we see Poetic Sans wants to be a seamstress. She has a son who wants to be a tailor. We take that money on that second jar as a community and invest in Poetic Sans, and she blows up. Now we got 3 businesses in the community nationwide. We got people who they've been working at H&R Block and they've been working at Jackson Hill 10 years. Now we can invest as a community. We can invest in you doing taxes. Now you're doing the whole community's taxes again. Then you take it. Now you're making, now that the community is 10, 11, 12, 1,300 people strong. And instead of that money going to Jackson Hewitt, it goes to this other person again, making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. And then you're going to help finance the Saturday programs and the after school programs. Why children turn into nefarious activities? They're turning into nefarious activities because they don't have anything to do. We keep saying, well, the government should, but they have not. It has been 160 plus years that since the Emancipation Proclamation. It's been 152 years since Reconstruction, that little 10-year period for Reconstruction. And since then, they set up laws, redlining, they set up laws, they discriminated against us. They've shown us that we are not their friend. Hey, trust me, I get it. I do promote voting. I do promote supporting, getting it, but that is just to keep the wall around our community. That's so we don't have to deal with them. I want you to understand this. 100 years ago, a century ago, some of us got mothers that's 75, 80 years old. Some of us still have our grandparents. So during our parents' and grandparents' life, there used to be, it's a potential that them have seen a sign that said no N-words, no Italians, no Jews, no dogs. Now, at one point, we had this thing called organized crime in the community. I'm not putting that on the entire Italian community, but these people made themselves some of the most powerful people in the United States of America, pretty much built up a city called Las Vegas. The Jewish community has taken over entertainment. They did a lot of music, they did a lot of movies, they do a whole lot of television and entertainment now. Now they are some of the most powerful people. I remember I didn't like the way he presented it, but he was right. Doug Gottlieb. He said, hey man, 90% of the Jewish community, 90-something% of the Jewish community have a literacy rate at an extremely high level. Why aren't you guys like that? I was insulted momentarily. And then I realized that's because they've done the footwork. And if they can do it in 60, think about it, man. 1945 is when the war, in 1945 is when that war ended, when they were being killed. And now they're one of the most powerful communities in the United States of America, even worldwide. So if they can do it in 70 years, we can do it in 70 years. By the time H-Rap's grandson is doing a podcast, he can do it. We keep seeing every week, every day, every month, somebody from our community blows up. But we need not worry about Michael Jordan, LeBron James, because how many of us gonna grow to 6 inches tall, 6 feet, 8 inches tall, with a 40+ inch vertical and play basketball for 20 years and make $1 billion? If any, not many. Those are rarities. But guess what? You have a son, daughter, niece, nephew, cousin, or neighbor taking something apart right now who will be getting yelled at in about an hour for taking something apart. Why did you take this apart? Don't yell at them. Understand that might be your next electrician. That might be your next software developer. That might be your next mechanic. That might be your next plumber. And we invest in those entities as well. That's how we invest in these people. Now, guess what? Another group of people, mechanics, auto mechanics. We need to have our own personal auto mechanic in every community in the United States of America. I'm not sending my car to the dealership. I'm taking my car over to Big Illinois. I'm not taking it to Ken. I'm sending it out to Ken White. These are the things that we must do. It sounds simple, but it's not, because you have a whole nation of people fighting against us to stop us from doing this. You ever wonder why people like Ice Cube and Tariq Nasheed, they keep, and other people saying, hold your vote, hold your vote. But guess what? Tariq Nasheed, Ice Cube, and other people that say that, they are millionaires. They are millionaires. They, if it hit the fan, they can pack up and go. We can't. So what we need to do is ensure we have our own plumbers, we have our own electricians, we have our own heating and air conditioning people, we have our own grocery stores and things. What I'm saying is nothing new. I'm not reinventing the wheel. What I am doing is putting people on notice. I'm gonna try to have a entrepreneur on this program so you can support them via email, via the internet, or locally here in Chicago. Last person I reached out to gave me a whole lot of static. Almost made me cuss them out. I'm not even going to admit it, because I'm still going to shop with them because they were rude and disrespectful, but it's to be expected because we've been under this oppressive regime for over 300 years. When you have been kicked in your head, you don't even know how to respond. Guess what, people? If you don't want to deal with H-Rap, all you got to do is just say, no, thank you. Or no, I'm not interested. And that's cool. It's still no hard feelings. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to focus on that. We need to have community events. We need to bring back the block. You see, oh man, your kids can't go outside. You know, the kids can't go outside because we got our black behinds in the house watching TV all the time. One of the things they used to allow your kids to stay outside, because I'm just going to use my neighborhood, because Miss Fitch used to be out there. Mr. Hall and Miss Hall used to be out there. The elders was out there. We can't let gangbangers run our community anymore. Oh man, I got to move my kids out of this community. No, you don't. You need to move them out of the community. You didn't get your black behind up every day and go by that house so somebody can run you in it. Stand outside. And guess what? I'm not approving of the violence against our community on no level by the police. But hell, if they shooting at your kids, make them people shoot at them. Because they not brothers and sisters. They the enemy, just like the Klan. If you stand out on my block shooting at people, that means it's somebody that could get shot in the house. My homegirl, Stephanie Lucas, her sister was shot in the house, in the bed, and killed. We shouldn't be living like that. Oh man, I ain't gonna call the police. I'm scared. What you scared of? Get them people scared. Get them scared. And guess what? If you don't want the police attacking us, beating us, brutalizing us, and shooting us, that's something else we need to encourage our young people. Look, young people, the military is there for you. Everybody ain't ready for college. If you're not a college-minded person, why would you go put yourself in debt? Go to the military. At worst case scenario, when you get out, they give you a list of federal agencies that are hiring people directly from the military. So now you getting hired directly from the military. I got a homeboy named Ron, married to this. My homegirl said they got government-funded jobs right out of the Navy. They hiring them first. The police department hiring military people first. So why wouldn't you go through that? I want to be a cop. Well, you don't want to be Paul either. Now you got something to set you up for. And guess what? You don't have to be a police officer. Now, mentally, you're ready to go get your degree. You're ready to move forward in life. You can do that. But we must arm ourselves with these mental opportunities. Talking down to these young people. Man, these young people don't want nothing. Based on what? How many young people have you had conversations with? I'm not talking about your nieces and nephews and your cousins. How many of these young people standing outside have you actually had a conversation with? Do you talk to your nieces and nephews' friends? Do you know who those young people are? Do you know what they dream to be? Have you ever suggested anything to a young person? Remember when you acted a fool? It was somebody in your face. How many times Have you done that? We don't do that as a collective. It's always somebody saying, oh, yeah, I do that. But it ain't enough of us doing it. You need to care. And not, hey, man, we ain't going to do this and we ain't going to do, nah, man. Oh, man, I actually had a conversation. I used to watch football with my people, and I was trying to bring up a situation so we can do these things. And, oh, man, it ain't going to work. Based on what? What are you basing the failure on? Oh, because you know one guy who was a complete jag leg. Is that what it is? Well, okay, not a problem. The next time you make a mistake, don't even concern yourself with being forgive. You just deal with that mistake forever. Into perpetuity. I don't care if you cure cancer, I'm gonna be what about back in 2023 when you made that mistake? No one wants to live up under that type of tyranny. So why are we forcing others to live up under that tyranny? We must recreate the block party. We must recreate the community organization. We must re-enter these churches. I'm not asking you to go to church. I'm just saying, if you got a problem, look, I want you to do it again. I'm not inventing the wheel. I'm retreading the wheel. Where did Dr. King come from? The church. Where did Ralph Abernathy come from? The church. Where did King's father come from? The church. Where did Malcolm X come from? The church. It's called a mosque. He's a Muslim, but it's a religious organization. You go to these religious organizations, the people at the Jehovah's Witness Hall, they can help with the communities as well. We can enter these places and ask for assistance. These people are paying tithes every week. My church feed people. Like every holiday that come around, we feeding people. We feed the children. But guess what? How about feeding the children with information about how great they are, giving them other opportunities? How about I reach out to some black electricians? I reached out to a dude, got to catch up with him. He does heating and air conditioning. He's looking for people to train. Oh man, you don't understand. If you don't understand the importance of heating and air conditioning, all of us live where heating and air conditioning is paramount. Oh man, Chicago cold. We know y'all need heat. Now we need air conditioning in the summer because it's 110 here. If you live in LA, it's 110 all the time. If you live in Arizona, you can go anywhere in the United States of America if you certify heating and air conditioning. How about this? You work downtown. You see these buildings behind me? You see that this building right here, the one that my index finger is touching, that one. If the heat go out in the winter in Chicago, that is the biggest refrigerator in the United States of America. If it goes out, if the air conditioner goes out in the summer, that is the biggest oven. How about this? Every month, the air conditioning must be checked for computer labs throughout the United States of America. This is a place of employment that is. This is a means of employment that is sustained for the rest of the time the earth rotates. These are the things our young people, and guess what? You don't have to go to college to get it. Most of these institutions that do the heating and air conditioning, they will train you on the spot. They will give you on the job training because there's not enough people doing it. Electricians, you don't have to go, you don't have to be $400,000 or $250,000 in debt to be an electrician. We must we must reinvent the wheel. We must reintroduce our children to other things. Look, going to a university is awesome. If you're going to be a doctor, if you're going to be a lawyer or something of that nature, that's awesome because we need you too. We need chiropractors, we need dentists, we need phlebotomists, we need all of those institutions. We need everything in the medical field, but we also need people who are going to do labor. Everybody ain't sitting up learning after they open a book and thumb through a book and now I'm the smartest kid in the class. No, that's not how we all learn. Some of us are auditorial learners, some of us are visual learners, some of us just have an innate ability to pick up things as we see them. And we need to start talking to our children about that. We must reopen these youth organizations. Chicago got over 100 schools closed. West Side Chicago, where I'm from, gang of schools closed up here. We can re-enter those institutions. We start shopping at XYZ grocery store owned by XYZ black guy. Hey, bro, We gonna only shop. We not going to Jewel. We not going to Food for Less. We not going to Whole Food. We just coming at you. But once we get to making this paper for you, man, we're gonna need you to help us reopen this school, and it's gonna be the biggest after-school program on the South and West Side. Once you get a store on the South and the West Side, the East Side, Inglewood, West Side, K-Town, Austin. Once y'all do that, we're gonna need y'all to invest into the community. This is how you make it work. Again, I'm not telling anybody anything that you haven't heard, but what I need us to do is start activating that way. Guess what? Because guess what? When you got a whole lot of people in your church every Sunday, the politicians come, and that's when we got them. And see, I'm gonna do this. And if they start talking about crime, if they start talking about poverty, all of us ain't broke, and all of us are not criminals. So what are you gonna do to help us? What about everybody I know from coast to coast, the border to border? They talk about the rent is higher than giraffe butt. Yeah. So guess what? We're gonna start. I'm gonna reach out to the people at NACA. NACA is allowing people to buy cribs at a ridiculously low rate, and they're helping you rehab joints. Oh, that used to be a arduous process. Well, you know what? You know it's even more arduous? Paying $2,200 a month for something you'll never own. That's how we do it. Canker Kids, this dude, Mr. Smith, me and him working on the opportunity for him to come on. He's talking about it's a black rodeo in the south suburbs of Chicago, 30 miles away from where I'm standing right now. There's black farmers out there that's giving away produce because they can't sell it. They making things that we can't even use, and we don't even know it. And people on the south and the west sides and the east side of Chicago, we don't even know that it exists. So guess what? We start going out there to support the rodeo, the black farmers down there. And guess what? We making things work. He said he has a couple of acres of land that he's willing to allow somebody to use. Of course, we're going to have to kick them back. But guess what? You are self-sustained situation right now. These are the things that we must do that other communities aren't doing. Because look, while we here in Chicago and probably in New York and other places where these migrants are, while y'all sitting up complaining about them, I want y'all to understand, when those people learn our language, they're going to get these opportunities, and that's going to put you in a worse situation. I'm going to celebrate our sisters right now, and we'll celebrate our community and show you how it has systematically been set up so you can look bad. This H-Rap, I'll be back shortly.
The idea of African backwardness was often used as a justification for enslavement and colonization. In the 18th century, certain European groups had a sort of public debate around the question of slavery. Abolitionists, of course, thought it to be immoral, but apologists weren't as concerned. They defended slavery with claims of savagery and backwardness. They referred to Africa as, and I quote, a living hell, and thought that the slave trade at the very least ameliorated African suffering. This narrative naturally bled into colonial justifications as well. Most Europeans imagined that they ushered in civilization into the forest zones of Africa. Sir Harry Johnston proposed that until they were civilized by outsiders, Africans were the natural servants of other races. If Africans were naturally servants, as Johnston argued, or immature and underdeveloped children, as other propagandists for colonial empire wrote, then colonialism was justified. Europeans, upon tangible interaction with the continent, were often met with the reality of African civilization. Some either tried to explain it away, some were honest about it, and others were left in a state of imbroglio, scrambling for answers. As a minor example, researchers, upon encountering African philosophy or thought, embraced the label primitive philosophy or simply religious thought. However, one missionary shocked the European world when he came to understand clearly African concepts. Placide Tempels referred to the philosophy he encountered as Bantu philosophy. Here's what he had to say. The discovery of Bantu philosophy is a disturbing event for all those who are concerned with African education. We have had the idea that we stood before them like adults before the newly born. In our mission to educate and to civilize, we believed that we started with a tabula rasa, though we also believed that we had to clear the ground of some worthless notions to lay foundations in a bare soil. We were quite sure that we should give short shrift to stupid customs, vain beliefs, as being quite ridiculous and devoid of all sound sense. We thought we had children, great children, to educate, and that seemed easy enough. Then all at once we discovered that we were concerned with a sample of humanity, adult, aware of its own brand of wisdom and molded by its own philosophy of life. That is why we feel the soil slipping under our feet, that we are losing track of things, and why we are asking ourselves what to do now to lead our colored people.
Verbo.
According to scholar Mutombo Senga, Temples underwent a deep conversion, leading him to acknowledge African moral values and the conception of God. His exposure and understanding of Central African philosophy undoubtedly countervailed popular narratives of the time. This trend also began to occur with ideas about African architecture. However, instead of mere acknowledgement of African intellect, Europeans began to adopt African techniques altogether. African architecture was perfectly suited to meet the needs of African people and their environment. Earthen construction, though viewed as inferior or primitive, was innovative and functioned well in the climate. It also accommodated the needs of sedentary peoples or those who moved frequently. In spite of their stereotypical views regarding some forms of African architecture, early European and colonial settlements ironically began to adopt African techniques. Early British and French colonial settlers and administrators, recognizing the merit of indigenous solutions to climatic comfort, emulated them by raising their expatriate mansions high above the ground, and by developing a wall system composed of louvered doors and screened verandas. Many examples can still be seen in Abidjan, Accra, Lagos, and Dakar. Apparently, not so backward after all. A similar modus operandi can be said of African military history. According to scholar John Thornton, because of Europe's large-scale conquest of the Americas, African opposition wasn't taken seriously. Needless to say, that was a mistake. Thornton goes on to say that military historians are beginning to reassess the idea that military systems that did not follow a European model were developmentally backward or operationally inferior. Interestingly enough, Europeans and Africans in Central Africa acknowledged the merit of both military systems and began to combine arms and strategies. As a result of this recognition, a new art of war developed that combined European and African arms and strategies. It was gradually adopted by both sides in the confrontation, which had its high point during the long wars between the Portuguese and Queen Nzinga and her successors over control of the highlands region that made up Ndongo heartland, and more or less ended in a stalemate in the early 1680s. This perspective is a clear violation of popular narratives of European military history in Africa. The adoption of African techniques in Central Africa is a curious thing when we consider the backwardness claims and its obstinate promotion. Either some Europeans became backward themselves, or Africans aren't backward at all, and there are cultural, environmental, or religious reasons behind their method of living. Now, these may not be the only two options, but I think it's something to strongly consider. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com.
Thank you. I'm back. As you see, the reason I showed you that video is this. We've been consistently fed this nonsense about we come from backward people, we come from primitive. You even had this lady who's this jag-leg politician from South Florida talking about, thank God, she's a preacher and she's running for office, talking about, thank God, white people brought her out of Africa. See, when you create math, you create science, you create astrology, you create buildings called the pyramids that are still standing to this day, 4, 5, 6,000 years later. People still can't build them to the perfection that they built them thousands of years ago. No one can tell you that you come from an inferior race. Also, the things that they don't want to share with you is this: the fact that there have been remnants of pyramids in the Rocky Mountains, which is in Colorado. They got there's been suspected pyramids in what is called the Grand Canyon. That's why some of the Grand Canyon. How is it that is dangerous areas in the Grand Canyon in 2023? Now, in 1965, maybe you can tell that a lot, but because there's been remnants of our presence there as well. One of the reasons the Incas and other Mexican tribes are no longer there, because those people were brown just like me and you. And I don't mean brown as in Mexican, I mean brown as in black. See, what we have to do is put ourselves in situations to whereas we know who we are. Don't allow somebody to tell you who you are. Again, like I told you right before I left, we're looking at a situation here in Chicago. Everybody's mad about the migrants. Look, the migrants, they are getting advantages. But that all that does is let people know that as these white folks open up their wallets and the government open up their wallet, there is some money in there. So I'm going to need you to start going to your people. Look, there are organizations designed, there are groups designed, there are people in your community that live next door to you that you don't even realize that they can help you. But instead, we go to cookouts and we talk about love and hip hop. And we talk about the football game. We talk about everything but what's bothering our community. We ain't talking about the fact that these people trying to do away with Social Security. Oh, I got 401k and I make good money. Yeah, but your grandmother don't. You gonna spend your money on your grandmother's meds. You got $12,000, $14,000 a year to give your grandmother, your mother, your father, your aunts, your uncles. No, I doubt if you do. So when they're trying to do away with Social Security, all they doing is taking the money we're paying into. How they gonna tell you this? How they telling you that Social Security may be run out by 2035? Well, wait a minute. People get up and go to work every day. At least for 53 years I've been on Earth. People pay taxes every day, and some of your taxes, some of your pay go right into Social Security. How is it that it's running out? Because y'all funding these wars with our money out of the Social Security fund, and y'all don't want nobody to catch up with at the end of the day. Y'all don't want people to know that that's where that money is going to. How else can you send $20 billion to the Ukraine to help fight against the Russians? Now you need to be sending $20 billion to the West Side or in LA and South Central or on the South Side of Chicago. See, we continue to get duped by looking over here. Why is it? Y'all saw the episode. My friend Wanda was on here, and she said 58% of the people who are being abducted and put into human trafficking are Black women. How is it that I didn't know that? I'm the pro-Black dude on every week. I ain't know that until Wanda put me on game, because we not talking to each other about the things that are important. We talking about things that are unimportant. We talking about Puff Daddy and one young lady or 5 people. Meanwhile, it's our sisters here in Chicago getting abducted. So if this happened in Chicago, I bet it's happening in LA. I bet you it's happening in Texas, in both big cities in Texas, Dallas and Houston. I bet you it's happening all across the South. I bet you it's happening in New York and Dallas, Detroit, and in Milwaukee and Cincinnati and Cleveland too. But we're not talking about it. We talking about the migrants. Tell you what, the migrants is a problem that is threatening us in the future. You know what's threatening us right now? The fact that our children are getting substandard education, that our children are not being taught on how to read. Period. Like, hold on one second. Name the Black Road. You know what? Mr. Smith is going to be on soon, Cyrus. That's my man Cyrus. He's coming on soon too, because he's an author. He's from the west suburbs of Chicago. He's an author, and he's coming. I told y'all, every week I'm having somebody. I need y'all to support these people, because if we support them enough, then what happens is this: he can reinvest in the community. We must do this. We can't, again, back to the migrant situation. Am I telling you that these people don't need assistance? They walk around. I saw a girl in some booty shorts and it was 30 degrees outside. So of course they need help. But guess what? It's some brothers living on the side of the expressway. There's some brothers living on Chicago Avenue up under the train, up under the overpass. There's some brothers living out in the park on the south side of Chicago. There's some brothers and sisters out, some Black families out in the cold. Y'all hold on, wait a minute. Question. Mayor Johnson, look, I understand that Harold Washington made this sanctuary city in March of 1985, but you know what? He didn't make only the west and the south side sanctuary cities. Put some of them people in Lincoln Park. I bet you some of these situations stop happening. You put some of them people in Lincoln Park, you put them with them folks that got that bread. I bet you all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, there's enough people here then. But if y'all got $9,000, like I told y'all last week, we need to be on the phone. I told y'all, download this app. Where is it? It's on my phone. It's called 5 Calls. If you download the 5 Calls app, you can get the phone number to anybody, any of these representatives. It gives you 5 phone numbers that you can reach out to the mayor, your state rep, your alderman, all these people. That number, it will put you right in contact with Dick Durbin, all these people. And we need to be on the phone with them every day. They give you their local phone number and the number in DC. Understand, every time that phone rings in DC or that number, it is documented, because they got protection against these people. So if you calling and complaining, I've spoken with her state rep here. He said, man, if 11 people call me, my staff is overwhelmed. Well, guess what? Y'all need to download that 5 Calls app nationwide and make sure that their staff is overwhelmed. If you're uncomfortable, well, just call and talk about, call when you know they're not there and complain about the potholes in your street. Complain about the schools being shut down. Complain about it ain't enough teachers. Complain about anything. Complain though. And then when they show up at your church, when they show up at your organization, if you part of the Divine Nine, or you part of the Masonic Order, you part of the Eastern Star, if you part of the Vice Lords, the Crips, the Bloods, the Gangster Disciples of the Blackstone, them people somebody who knows somebody. Start complaining. Not to your cousin, unless you and your cousin gonna get 50 people and go straight to their office. This is what we must do. Look, the migrants get $9,000 a month. That means Brian needs to be getting $18,000 a month. If you're giving away money to people who ain't paying no taxes, you need to be giving away money to me. I pay taxes. My children are not being educated properly. My children are not being safe. My sisters and nieces and grandmothers and aunts and homies, they're under attack. They're being abducted. They're being beaten. There's a bunch of things happening to Black women right here in Chicago. Y'all saw the episode, the one with Miss Taylor, one of the most watched episodes that I've done. So I know y'all seen it. So I'm gonna need y'all to activate. See, sitting around and talking about what they ain't gonna let you. Guess what? They ain't let Dr. King get off that bus. They ain't let Malcolm X say what he wanted to say. They ain't let Mega ever say what he wanted to say. Understand, those men died doing that. But guess what? A lot of us have grandchildren. Most of us have children. All of us have relatives. Do you want your family safe, or do you want to just be a coward and be in the house and be like, okay, it ain't gonna bother me? Because the very people who say it's not gonna bother them, that's the people that get hit first. Look, is this gonna change overnight? Nope. But I'm gonna continue to walk this walk every week. I'm gonna walk this dog every week. We need to be down. Look, don't be bragging about we built this country. We ain't built this country. We were forced to build this country at gunpoint, at the behest of our ancestors. They ain't voluntarily build this joint, but since we did it, we need our cut. That's what Dr. King said a week before they shot him. When we get to DC, we want our check. Now, I ain't trying to die. I got a reason to live. But what I want y'all to understand is, we make up 85% of the NFL. We make up 85% of the NBA. Well, guess what? Stop bragging about that foolishness too. Because those dudes ain't giving us no money. See, if we were raising our young men properly, when they make it to the league, our communities would be reinvested in. We need to be telling our young men and young women in the WNBA and in tennis, look, we're going to support you. But when you get that Serena Williams money, when you get that LeBron James money, we need a Serena Williams, LeBron James, Michael Jordan grocery store, dry cleaners. We need a housing complex with affordable housing. Yeah, we need all that. What good does it do to brag that Oprah worth $1 billion and she ain't giving you $1 billion cents? I don't want to hear about none of these dudes. If they not helping us, they not down. That's what we need to be focused on, man. I'm trying to get on as a rapper. Man, if you want to be a rapper, ain't nobody got no CD players no more. Get you a bunch of pen drives. Rap, make you an album. Download it to the pen drive. Get you 200-300 of them. Sell them like they used to do CDs back in the day. You don't need nobody. You don't need no iTunes. You don't need nothing. Country Wayne showing you that YouTube will make you a millionaire. Why would you try to go be on NBC, ABC, CBS, TNT, Showtime, Fox, or any of them? Country Wayne showing you. We don't need anybody, folks. We make everything pop. We make music pop. We make entertainment pop. We made Michael Jackson a billionaire. We made Tyler Perry a billionaire. We made Spike Lee a multi-millionaire. We made Denzel the hottest dude in the world. We made all these rappers famous, and we're not getting anything for it. It's time for us to start making demands. Instead of, it's cool. Everybody's favorite rapper, Kanye West, he a billionaire. He can say what he want. Well, Kanye, you from the South Side of Chicago, right? So why in the entire hell is the Regal Theater sitting there about to fall over? Why is D-Ray Davis this weekend? Why is D-Ray Davis going to be at the Erie Crown Theater instead of with your rich behind and Jay-Z? You a billionaire. You a businessman. Why ain't you and Dr. Dre and all y'all buying up these theaters and then y'all can start your own chitlin circuit? Why ain't that happening? See, it's easy to talk about what they ain't going to do, what y'all doing. Enough of this flying these people flags, man. No flag holding in backwashing, because I was going to say another word. It wasn't going to be back. We got to start holding people accountable. But before anything, we got to hold ourselves accountable. We got to talk to these children about trades, talk to these children about entrepreneurship, talk to our friends who got mad talent about doing whatever they're good at. Everybody's good, man. God didn't make no blanks. It ain't nobody that's walking around, no able-bodied person that's walking around. And you got special needs people. I'm not talking about them. But hell, even the autistic are good at something. God ain't make no blanks. Nobody in this world is worthless. Find what you can do and do it. And then if you do what I'm asking and we get behind each other and support each other, everybody will be okay. See, everybody ain't trying to be a billionaire. Everybody ain't trying to be a millionaire. All that chase the bag. Everybody ain't trying to chase the bag. Some of us just want a nice crib and a nice ride and be able to go on vacation we want to and buy some nice things. So, okay, support these businesses, hold these businessmen feet to the fire, get these dudes, these pork chop preachers off their butts. Look, I know of 3 pastors here in Chicago, 3. They got mega churches. There ain't no way that they need to have mega churches. And the west side and the south side look the way it look. Driving down 290 Expressway the other day, I don't know what made me start paying attention. From First Avenue to Harlem, First Avenue to Austin, the interstate was clean. From Austin to Racine, it's trash all over the interstate. Guess who live in that area? See, those are why I'm on the west side, live on the west side, and it's trash everywhere. Ain't no garbage cans on the corner. Wait a minute, man. Y'all out here got people writing all these tickets. Why ain't got nobody clean up the neighborhood? Why ain't no street sweepers coming through? We need it. These are the small things we need to complain about. And guess what? You hire people to clean up. Those are jobs. We need jobs. But we ain't asking for no more jobs. We're going to create our own opportunities, because I guarantee you, it's some money that's allocated for cleaning up things like the interstate. It's money that's allocated for cleaning up vacant lots in the community. I guarantee you that it is money. That's what your state representative is for, people. The dude who is your state rep, part of, and this is out of, what's his name? Oh, he's calling himself Hollywood. Can't think of his name right now. I want to call him Thomas Hollywood, but that ain't his name. He's calling himself Ricky Hendon. Ricky Hollywood Hendon told me out his mouth, my job is to find money to put from the state to put into the community. So we can start programs on the west side to clean the west side. We write up a business proposal and we can get the west side clean. And guess what? We can employ our young people. Just buy up some of these vacant lots, create some community services and things like that. Folks, this is my last year on this. I'm telling you, this is it for me. This is it for me. I'm not finna be doing this. Hey, they might have to Fred happen me because I'm going to keep talking and I'm going to keep pointing the fingers, man. Look, money ain't everything, but it's a whole lot. All that money ain't going to make you happy. Well, I don't see nobody at the homeless shelter about a quarter mile south of my crib pop locking and throwing parties. You know why? Because money mean a lot. But we ain't going to sell our soul for the money. We're not going to sell nobody out for the money. We're not going to treat her. We're not going to let y'all keep capturing young black women and girls for the money. We ain't going to let y'all keep beating on these sisters for the money. But guess what? It's money is securing the sisters. See, what we're going to do, like I told y'all, every week this month, every at least once a week, I'm going to have somebody on here selling something, promoting something, or unifying us in some way, shape, form, or fashion. That's it for me. You know, I want to thank everybody. Y'all know how I get down every week. I'm going to salute the people who give me inspiration. That is the Ghetto Boys, Tariq Nasheed, Nori, Talib Kweli, Sway Calloway, Roland Martin, Al Sharpton, Heather B, Clay Kane doing God's work, Dr. Greg Carr doing God's work, Larry Daniel Favors doing God's work, one of the greatest inspirations in the history of the world, Karen Hunter, Professor Karen Hunter doing God's work. Get well soon to the Black Eagle, Joe Madison. He doing God's work. Thank y'all for the support. I want to send short. I'm gonna end. I usually end it with my man Big Mo, but I'm gonna end it with this one video. It's I thought it was cool. Hope you think it was cool. Please bring somebody next week. Go to www. You know what? This is what I want you to do before the show ends. I want y'all to do this. I want each and every one of you guys to do this. Go to the End of the Bench Media on YouTube. Hit that subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It's important that you do that. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back in 168 hours. I'm going to be back tomorrow actually doing the whole My Bill Sports Show. And I want y'all to check out this video. 2 fingers, 1 word. It's Age Rap.
DAP, an acronym for Dignity and Pride, is much more than a handshake. It originated among Black soldiers during the Vietnam War, who, in addition to fighting for their lives on foreign soil, also faced attacks of racism, segregation, and reports of being shot and killed by white U.S. soldiers during combat. The DAP was developed by Black soldiers as a symbol of strength and solidarity and their commitment to protecting one another.
My whole tour in Vietnam, when you met a Black soldier, he had a dap, you had a special handshake. You got to the point where you could even tell what part of the country he was from, because everybody had their distinctive, the dap or handshake. And you definitely could tell if he wasn't in your company, because everybody had their little nuance.
This is the greeting. This is the greeting of the brother, of my brother. I'm glad to see him. I don't have to know his name. Just the fact that he's Black is good. We know we got a common ground. We got a cause to fight.
Since the end of the Vietnam War, the DAP has broadened and become a part of mainstream American culture. However, we must never forget its original meaning of unity and taking care of one another.
Come together as brothers. We may both heads, but we always come back together.